Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got week 8 of the NFL season, and we are talking start and sit video for the quarterback position. Hopefully you guys are going into this season either undefeated, maybe a couple losses here or there, but have been away from the injury bug. And if you haven't, make sure you guys check out my waiver wire video to help you guys out this week. Let's jump right into this. So week 8 of the NFL season is here, and of course there is a Thursday night game. We have a very early Sunday game in Germany, and then of course great slate of games on Sunday and then a Monday night game. There are no teams on a bye this week, so every team is playing, which means you have a lot of great options to start your lineup, whether it be your 10-team league, 12-team league, or so on and so forth. So hopefully this video helps you guys out with the quarterback position. Now, these are your obvious starts at the quarterback position. These guys, either they're matchup proof or they've got a great matchup this week, should be in your lineup without question, without a doubt. They are going to have some success this week. Now, the quarterback position has been a little bit weird this year, right? You've got great quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, hasn't played well. Then you've got some quarterbacks like a rookie like Jaden Daniels, who's been outstanding. Now, Jaden Daniels is dealing with an injury. I normally would put him in the obvious slot, but unfortunately, there is no update as of right now. He may miss this game, which is going to be tough for him. If he does play, it's still a little cautious because anything dealing with the rib, even if they put the extra padding around, could be something that deals, especially when you're trying to throw a ball. But I think the smart play is they sit him this week, get him healthy, even though I know everybody would love to see Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams. But unfortunately, you got to think long-term. The Washington Commanders are trying to make the playoffs. Now, the first quarterback I'm going to mention as a good start this week is going to be Kirk Cousins versus the Buccaneers. Cousins may be my number one realistic quarterback this week based off of rankings. And a lot of it has to do with this matchup. In week 5, the Falcons played the Buccaneers on Thursday night, and Cousins had an outstanding game, putting up 34 fantasy points and over 500 passing yards with 4 passing touchdowns. I don't see him obviously replicating that exact type of statistics, but the Bucs defense just gave up 4 passing touchdowns to Lamar Jackson on Monday night, and the Bucs defense has been allowing 271 passing yards per game and 22.6 points per game. The Bucs defense has struggled. I'm not sure what is going on. They are secondary. I do like, as far as IDP, if you're doing any type of format like that, some of those guys are outstanding. But defensively, they're struggling. They normally are really good against the run, but they just got ran over by Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And obviously with the injuries and everything now going on with the Buccaneers, this team is definitely in a crossroads and trying to figure out what's going to happen the rest of the season. But I love Kirk Cousins' matchup this week. He should be probably your number one start this week. Now, another quarterback I really like this week is going to be Bo Nix versus the Panthers. Another rookie that has been really well, playing well. The rookies have been outstanding this season. There are obviously games they've been kind of struggling, but this is a great matchup for Bo Nix. Nix is having himself quite a fantasy season. As of week 7, he is currently quarterback 13, and he's averaging 14.8 points per game. In the last 3 games, he is averaging 19.3 points and has thrown or rushed for 5 touchdowns in those 3 games. His rushing ability has obviously been a big factor in fantasy, as well as since week 2, he's only thrown 1 interception. He's been actually really good with the ball, very protective. Now, of course, on the flip side, the Panthers are allowing 2 passing touchdowns per game to quarterbacks, and they're allowing an average of 18.7 points. So the matchup is great. Bo Nix has been playing great. I think he's a really nice play this week. I'm not sure how many people are actually really starting him, but I think his matchup should, again, you should absolutely consider him. Now, of course, if you're in a 2 QB league, if you're not starting him, that doesn't make sense. But I think if you're in a 1 quarterback league, you're looking for that boom type of play, I like him a lot this week. Another quarterback I like this week is going to be Brock Purdy versus the Cowboys. Sure, Purdy has got to deal with a lot going on. No Deebo Samuel, no Brandon Ayuk. There's even a chance that George Kittle is out for week 8. With that said, though, Purdy against the Cowboys is almost a given. He's always performed really well against them. Dallas is struggling. They're allowing 19 points per game to quarterbacks. and they're dealing with their own injuries on the defensive side. We'll see if Micah Parsons plays. Obviously, DeMarcus Lawrence has been out. You had an injury with Eric Kendricks. There's just a lot going on defensively. And I do think even though their wide receivers are not there, Jennings and Pearsall could actually still be solid options for Purdy. I know it's not, and it may be something that probably maybe scares people from starting Purdy is because they're playing with their wide receiver 3 and 4 out there. But I think this offense has just got this mental ability to just overcome Dallas. And I think Dallas's defense has been struggling. I think Purdy in this offense, even with these receivers, still have a way to have a great week. And the last quarterback I want to mention is a good start this week is going to be Tua Tagovailoa versus the Cardinals. Sure, Herbert didn't have an amazing game against the Cardinals on Monday night, only putting up 14.8 points, but he was still able to throw for almost 350 passing yards. And the Cardinals right now are allowing 18 points per game to the quarterbacks and allowing 250 passing yards per game. Tua is coming off an injury. Obviously, he's probably going to be eased into this, but I don't know if I really quite believe that because right now Miami needs to win to really salvage their season. And if they're going to do that, they can't ease Tua in. Tua's got to get back onto it. So I really think this matchup is one where I think Tua can put up 17 to 18 points. Now, jumping into the sit on that same game, Kyler Murray versus the Dolphins, I don't love. Look, I'm hesitant to play Murray this week. The Dolphins have been actually really good against quarterbacks this season. Even those who are known as far as, guys who make plays with their legs, players like Josh Allen or Anthony Richardson, both of those guys were under 10 points in fantasy in their matchups against the Miami Dolphins. Murray's been great this season. A lot of it has been because of his legs. But with the ability of the way this Dolphins defense has played, again, they shut down practically Josh Allen or Anthony Richardson, who can run the ball. I'm a little nervous for Kyler Murray. I don't think they're going to play, as well as you would like. And I don't think he's going to rush as well as you would like. So Kyler Murray, I'm going to hold off on him this week. Another quarterback I'm not crazy about this week is going to be Trevor Lawrence versus the Packers. Earlier in the season, the Packers were a great matchup for quarterbacks, but in the last 3 weeks, they actually are only allowing 10.2 points per game. And in week 7 alone, they held CJ Stroud and the Texans to only 86 passing yards and 5 fantasy points. Lawrence has started to perform a bit better, but I don't see him performing really well against this Packers defense. He may make up for some of the points in garbage time trying to play catch up against a really strong Packers offense, and that's maybe the only way Trevor Lawrence salvages his fantasy performance. But if you're looking at your landscape of players that are out there, there are probably some players on the waiver that, again, if you check out my waiver wire video, might help you, that I think are better options than Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to sit him. Another quarterback I'm going to sit, and I hate to say it, it's going to be Dak Prescott versus the 49ers. The kryptonite for Dallas and Dak have been the 49ers. Sure, the 49ers are dealing with a lot of injuries. Their defense have not been their dominant self like they have in the past. But I do think, again, like I mentioned, the mental aspect of this, of how dominant the 49ers have been against Dallas, is still going to play a factor and still be a thing in their minds. Now, Dak has been kind of average this season. He's coming off one of his worst performances against the Detroit Lions before the bye week. Hopefully, the bye week has changed some things for this Dallas offense. But realistically, the players haven't changed. Not a whole lot has. I just don't trust Dak this week. And keeping in the NFC East, I don't love Daniel Jones' matchup this week. I'm going to sit him. He's going against the Steelers this Monday night, which is dreadful, I know. The Steelers have actually been really great defensively this season, creating turnovers and getting after the quarterback. Daniel Jones has had some solid games this week, but again, not a great matchup. Steelers are only allowing 13 points per game and have created an interception per game as well. So not only are they getting an interception per game, they're doing a really great job of, again, keeping, running quarterbacks in line and creating pressure, making these guys throw and maybe seeing ghosts and just not being able to make the passes they would love. Daniel Jones didn't have a great outing last week. They even put in Drew Lock. Now, they did obviously announce that Daniel Jones is still the starting quarterback. We'll see how things may change. And there were games that he was great. A lot of it really contributed to Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors did not have a great game. Obviously, he came back after missing 2 weeks. Maybe that changes a little bit, but I'm not going to start Daniel Jones this week. Now, my sleepers for the week, I've got 3 quarterbacks here. I've got Jameis Winston versus the Ravens. Ravens defense has been horrible against the pass. They've actually allowed quite a bit of points and yardage. So this is kind of one of those, maybe Jameis Winston has one of those type of performances where he throws 350, has a touchdown or two. And of course, he's probably going to throw an interception or two as well. So you got to live by that and die by that. But I think Jameis Winston's a nice little sleeper. I also have Russell Wilson versus the Giants. I mentioned him in my waiver wire video. Russell Wilson's coming off of a great 20-plus point performance for three touchdowns, and going against the Giants defense that have been struggling. Now they've gotten a little bit better. Brian Burns has been great. They've started to get a little bit better at getting after the quarterback, but I like Russell Wilson. And then the other guy is going to be Anthony Richardson versus the Texans. And I'm sure at this point, Anthony Richardson's probably been dropped in a lot of leagues, but Richardson against the Texans defense, the first time, put up 27 points, right? Like there's a possibility, and the Texans have been just defensively horrible against the quarterback. So he's a nice little sleeper. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for week 8 of the NFL quarterback edition. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys check out my waiver wire video. And of course, if you're watching this, check out my other start and sit videos. I got running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. I'll check you guys out next time.